Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com. Brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Welcome back to Target Field on a very sunny, actually a beautiful day, albeit a very cold day here in Minneapolis, as the Sox in their third opener of the season. So a ceremonial first pitch was delivered before the game, and there's Rod Carew. He's with Tony Oliva, and it was a pretty good first pitch. Along with Joe Mauer, the three of them have combined for 13 batting titles during the course of their illustrious careers. And of course, Oliva and Carew beloved here in the Twin Cities. In fact, Tony now is partnered with the Twins, along with his wife Rhonda, for a year-long campaign to raise funds for the American Heart Association. We will have Tony up sometime during this series. And two managers go out to present lineup cards. The Twins really struggling. They're 0-6. We talked about it in the open. The fact is, since 1901, only three teams who started out 0-6 have made the playoffs. That was 74 the Pirates, 75 the Red Sox, and 95 the Reds. And no team that's ever started out 0-7 has made the playoffs. So it's a big game, certainly. Paul Molitor had a meeting with his team after they lost their sixth straight. And he talked to them about the plan, the fact that they hit a cold spell early in the season. It doesn't mean that the season is by any stretch of the imagination doomed. And last year was a very tough year for our Sox against these Twins. In fact, just 6-13 overall. Particularly difficult in this ballpark where the Twins won 8 of 10. So they've added a very powerful designated hitter in Byung-Ho Park. He hit over 100 home runs the last 2 years playing in Korea. Now he's hoping to give them that right-handed power bat that they certainly need. And Paul Molitor, a member of the Hall of Fame in his second year as a skipper, did a pretty good job last year with these Twins. That's Joe West talking to him about the ground rules and everything that goes into playing here. The Twins, for their brief career in this ballpark, they're just 2-4 on opening days. And so the Twins, realizing now they have their work cut out for them, thought that they would score a whole lot of runs. They were concerned about the starting rotation. And what they've seen early is that they're striking out a lot, 72 times in 6 games. That's pencils out to a ridiculous number at the end of the season if that continues. And they realize that the starting pitching may be a touch better than they thought. They've had some problems out of the bullpen. Glenn Perkins blew a save. They had a 2-run lead over Kansas City going into the 9th inning, only to see it disappear and lose that game in 10. So Jose Quintana looking for a whole lot of runs today, and perhaps a pretty good pen behind him as the Twins take the field. And let's take a look at how Robin is going to line up our Sox for the game this afternoon. Adam Eaton, the brand new dad, Adam Eaton, back for his first game since the birth of his son. He's playing right field. Then it's Jimmy Rollins, Jose Abreu. Jose Abreu hitting safely in 5 of his 6 this year. Todd Frazier at third base, and it's Melky Cabrera, who has yet to strike out in 24 at-bats. That's the best in the major leagues. Brett Lawrie, Aviseo Garcia, Deanna Navarro, and Austin Jackson rounded out. The defense that Paul Molitor will throw out is Eddie Rosario in left field, and he's a good one. He's got a very good arm, with Byron Buxton, a burner, in center field. Miguel Sano, the converted third baseman, in right field. That's Trevor Plouffe, Eduardo Escobar, Brian Dozier, and Joe Mauer in the infield. Kurt Suzuki gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Kyle Gibson. Gibson, a former #1 draft pick of these Twins back in 2009. 4-0 lifetime against our Sox with an ERA of 2.13. Last time out, by his own admission, those 5 walks were due to being a little bit nervous. He said he was really amped up for that first start against the Orioles, couldn't get the ball over the plate. He is a sinker slider pitcher, and because of that, control is really important because he's not a strikeout pitcher. The umpires for the game today: Kerwin Danley, will be behind the plate. Then Andy Fletcher is at first base with Mark Ripperger at second, and Joe West is at third. There's a look at Robin, who's got a 4-2 ball club. And Robin realizes everybody else, because he watched batting practice, the ball's flying out in right center field. The winds, gusting over 20 miles an hour, started out blowing right toward the right field corner. That's going to knock the ball down for the right-hand hitters, but it certainly is going to aid anybody going to the right side. So Suzuki throwing the ball to second base. They're throwing the ball around the infield, which means we're ready for the Twins opening day. And I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
Hi, Stoney. Thank you. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here on Comcast Sportsnet. First of a 3-game set, that encompassing 4 days. Tomorrow will be an off day. Then we'll finish it off with 3 down in St. Petersburg against the Rays. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. As Adam Eaton, proud new papa of a baby boy, Braden. And the first pitch of the ball game taken for a strike. Adam, 9 for 20 on the season. 9 hits out there in Oakland. There's a chopper to Hopper. And the lead man down. So right now let's check out our picks to click. Jim Angel, our director and the crew, well, they went with Jimmy Rollins. Steve's going with Garcia. And J.J. Shira, Jeff Shira, David Novak, and I, we're going to go with Deanna Navarro. Here's Jimmy Rollins.
Really unusual how some teams, every team we've played so far, shifts on Rollins, but the Twins don't. They've got Escobar playing on the third base side of second, although he is playing up the middle.
Jimmy 3 for 21 on the season. But of course, one of those hits in the 9th inning of Sean Doolittle, a home run, and we won that ball game 5-4. Sox last year did not fare too well against these Twinkies. Overall, played them 19 times. We won 6 of the 19. We played them 10 times here. We won 2.
Sox would love to take advantage of Sano in right field. He's a third baseman, spent his whole life as an infielder, mostly a third baseman. Now he's playing right field to just get a spot in the lineup. And he's had some problems out there in the early going.
That ball hit into the gap, and Sano races over. He's there, makes the catch. Got it towards the end of the bat. So 2 down.
Gibson, a big man at 6'6", 215 pounds. Out of Greenfield, Indiana, last year 11-11 with these Twins. An ERA respectable, 3.84, and he started 32 games, so he was durable.
Here's Abreu. Jose 7 for 21. Couple of home runs. Takes a breaking ball strike.
You'd expect that when Gibson goes with his sinker, he's going to try to keep it in because they're playing him as a dead pull hitter in the infield. Not much room between Plouffe and Escobar.
Lays off that one. That's the one pitch right there that if he learns how to lay off of, he's going to be a monster. Not that he's not already.
He's going to hit 330 if he can just stop swinging at that one.
Sure, that one pitch right there. And hopefully what'll happen a lot of times, not all the time by any means, but the light goes off, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years into your career. Why am I even doing it? Because I can't do anything with it if I hit it.
Now, and this is just his 3rd year in the major leagues. He's still a very young major league hitter.
That's high into right center field. Buxton. So an easy inning right there for the big right-hander, and that for half inning play. It's our guys nothing, and their guys coming to bat.
Line up his Twins for the game this afternoon. Brian Dozier leading it off. He struggled in the early going. Joe Mauer has been red hot. Then it's Miguel Sano. Trevor Plouffe, Young Hope Park. Eddie Rosario, Eduardo Escobar, Kurt Suzuki, and Byron Buxton hitting 9th. The defense, and now they'll line up behind Jose Quintana. Left to right, Melky Cabrera, Austin Jackson, and Adam Eaton. In the infield, Frazier, Rollins, Laurie, and Abreu. Yanner Navarro gets a nod behind the plate. And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Jose Quintana. Quintana, brilliant the first time out, got a no decision, as you see. Only gave up 2 earned runs, didn't walk anybody, fanning 7. Lifetime 4-4 against these Twins. And Dozier is a notorious first ball fastball hitter.
One of the better first ball fastball hitters in the American League. Last year, 28 home runs.
What happened with him is he got off to a great start last year and then tried to pull everything. He wanted to hit everything a mile out of the ballpark. And he fell off the second half.
Well, that's a great concept. But in reality, no.
I mean, he's strong enough, obviously, with 28 home runs, but they want him as a leadoff hitter to get on a bit more than he did last year.
Well, that is a nice play right there. That looked like a surefire double. But again, a lot of that goes to Austin Jackson.
Take another look as Jose tries to get that fastball inside. We told you that Dozier is a prolific fastball hitter. That time rifling it into left field, but Melky there, and now the double play still in order.
And by Austin Jackson, I mean when you get a guy like Austin Jackson who can go get him. He can play center, right center, and left center. That means the corners can play a couple of steps more over towards the line and cut shots like that one right there and hold them to a single rather than a double. Mauer, .313 career hitter, and he has hit Quintana well. 10 for 29 with a couple of home runs. Just off the corner.
Big shift in the outfield with Austin Jackson well over into left center field. The huge gap, as you can see there, is in right and straightaway center field.
Because they 1-2 last year against these Twins. 4-4, as Steve told you in the opening. 4-4 lifetime.
Twins have only grounded into 1 double play, that off the bat of Trevor Plouffe.
Now make it 2. Rack 'em up.
Nice way to erase a leadoff base hit, inducing Mauer to ground into his first double play of the year. He went upstairs, and on Joe, that's a pretty good spot. That ball maybe ticked the upper parts of the strike zone, but quickly 2 out.
So here's Miguel Jean. Miguel Sano Jean.
By any name, he can hit it a long way. He's a big man.
Well, he's 6'4", 262 pounds. He's 22 years old, and I don't think there's anybody in this league can hit it further than he can. He's got a chance to be an absolute beast.
Well, a lot of people thought that they would trade Trevor Plouffe over the wintertime to clear third base for Sano. But instead, they kept Plouffe, who had a pretty decent year power-wise last year, and forced Sano into the outfield, where he's had some trouble acclimating.
Well, it's also can morph into trouble with the bat.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, he's playing a position he never played before, and
exactly right.
And he's making mistakes that quite obviously he doesn't want to make, the team doesn't want him to make, but certainly not a natural conversion from third base to right field.
No, the ball's entirely different. Spin's entirely different coming at you. He's been used to, and they tell me, talking to some Twins people, that Sano is not that bad at third base.
No, he's actually pretty decent. He's got a rocket for an arm that'll hold him in good stead in right field, but it's just taking routes on various balls, and the ball will find you.
Has lined in the center, right at Austin. Stays with it. Ball looks like it's knuckling just a bit. Meanwhile, after 1, no score. First taping of Beer Money, the trivia show that tests your sports knowledge in exchange for cash. Taping starts tomorrow at 5:30 at Pinheads in Yorkville. Less Pinheads in Yorkville. Beer Money presented by Coors Light.
Best place to look for the fastball from Gibson is low and in. It not only sinks, but it also moves in to the right-hand hitters. The fact that Sox hit a couple of fly balls in the first inning would tell you that the sinker isn't quite where Gibson wants it to be yet, and that's to be expected early in the game.
Here's Todd. Takes ball 1. Todd 4 for 24 with a couple of home runs and 5 RBIs on the season. Played 6 games and he has 5 ribbies. All the guys, Ray Fosse and Ken Korak and all the guys out in Oakland talking about Frazier, what a great addition this is to our ball club. Then come in here, and the Dutchman, Hall of Famer Bert Blaulet, been talking about what a great addition Todd Frazier is.
Well, in every aspect, he certainly helped the ball club.
That's the whole key. Yeah. That's the whole key. You go as with the leadership, with the defense, and his offense is pretty good too. It's amazing to a degree for guys like Stoney and myself who've been in this game all our lives, what you call lifers in baseball, that used to be you could stick somebody who wasn't too good with a glove, you stick him out in right field. Then maybe occasionally if he was real good, you stick him at first base. Is there they shot base hit into left field, so the leadoff man aboard. And never too much, unless he was going to hit 40 or more, could you stick somebody who was weak at third base. But now the game has changed and morphed into you cannot have a bad corner and expect to contend in your division. If you got bad defense at third or first, you're in trouble.
Well, there's no doubt that we saw some bad defense the last couple of years at third base, and with 4 left-handed starters, you have to have a guy at third who can pick it, and Frazier can do just that.
That's the first thing Lylevin said. First thing.
Yep.
He said, with all your left-handers, you better have somebody at third base who can catch it.
Plouffe is in very close at third base, thinking that for whatever reason, Melky is going to become a bunter late in his career.
Melky 5 for 21 with a couple of RBIs. That's in the dirt, so tied at second base. Now get him over, Melky.
Nice heads up base running. Suzuki normally pretty good at blocking the ball. This one did get away, and as soon as it hit the dirt, Frazier was gone. So it goes as a wild pitch. That's the first of the year for Gibson. That's the 7th this year already for the Twins.
Fouls that one back.
That pretty much changes the at bat for Melky, because the primary goal with Frazier at second and nobody out is to try to pull the ball and move him along. Excellent arms in left and right field, with Rosario on left and Sano in right. A good arm in center field.
Yeah, Buxton's not bad.
No, he's got a good arm, and he can fly.
A little too quick. .42 degrees at game time if you're just tuning in, but a beautiful day here in the Twin Cities.
We're supposed to have four days where it progressively gets warmer and no rain whatsoever, which is good, because you certainly want to get in all 3 games and don't let the double headers pile up because of the rain out yesterday. Sox on the 23rd of May will play a twin bill with the Indians at home.
That'll get the job done. Good at bat, Melky. Got a breaking ball. Got a great pitch to do it on.
Well, surprisingly, I mean, that's just not a thoughtful couple of pitches from Gibson, because you know the guy's up there trying to pull the ball, and you throw him 2 soft breaking balls back to back, the second of which was down the middle of the plate, and he's able to pull it. That could lead to a run, and that's, from a pitching standpoint, probably a mental mistake.
Sure it is. As the infield in. And here's Laurie. Brett, 4 for 22 on the season. And here at Target Field, 339 down the left field line, 328 down the right field line, 365 with that high wall in right center, 377 with a short wall out there in left center, 411 deep left center, 403 deep right center. Yeah, on a pitch like that in that situation, after you're 0-6, Earl Weaver, if he were managing this club, would have taken that head of his, fired it right against the wall.
Yeah, I think the first slow breaking ball he would have yelled out there. The second one he would have been apoplectic.
He wouldn't have jumped on Gibson. He'd have gone right after Suzuki.
It's true. And so an enviable situation, even at 3-0 with the infield in at all 4 positions. Let's see if Robin gives him the green light.
There's the blue play special here. He didn't get it. He did not get the order for the blue play special.
He took that one right down the middle.
Now it's full. As tough as pitching is today, boy, every time you get a situation where you get a free pass at it.
And this is a really important run. Anytime you can break on top to a team that's down 0-6, behoove you to get it done.
That'll get the job done off the fist, but a single back up the middle. So Brett picks up his first RBI, and it's 1-0 good guys.
Big run scored. We talked about looking inside when Gibson wants to throw that fastball. You see exactly where Suzuki's set up. So Gibson, who's arm side strong, meaning he just as soon throw it inside to the right-handers. With the infield in, no angle on the ground ball, leads to the early run.
And that's that low curveball to Cabrera. Well, that ball sucked up right there. So here's Avi. Boy, what a nice home run he had day before yesterday. I was having to watch that game on my iPad because WGN is not carried a lot of places in South Bend, and Granger.
It's kind of surprising.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, really. That ball high in the left center. Buxton. And when he hit that home run, that iPad went flying. Right up out of my lap.
Yeah, that put it away. A line drive rocket into the bullpen in right field. Gibson's already changed things around from his opening start, in that he walked 5 in 5 innings in that game and has yet to walk anybody here.
Here's DeHonor. Very underrated player to most people, but not for the people who have played with him and played against him. Well, he has just worn us out in his career. Last year he threw out 39% of base stealers.
That's pretty amazing, and the fact is that he hasn't been a great hitter, but he's been a good hitter on both sides of the plate. Yeah, I mean, from the time he started his career through his travels, now winding up behind the plate. Not necessarily a full platoon system with Alex Avila, but they'll both get a lot of time.
Got him on a slow curveball, but we get a break, take advantage of it, and it's 1-0 Sox. Dan Hayes, all season long on CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
There's a young fan, certainly enjoying the sunshine today. They gave out sweatshirts before the game, and it's a sea of red if you look around the ballpark.
Terrific fans here in the Twin Cities. Plouffe, Park, Rosario. Trevor trying to take that nice approach on that pitch, but 0-1 to count.
For whatever reason, this Minnesota team has been striking out a lot more than they normally do.
The back door him, he missed.
They're averaging 12 strikeouts a game from an offense that was supposed to generate a whole lot of runs and probably will before it's over.
They will. They'll score a lot of runs. High pop up right side. Abreu now being called off. Everybody being called off by Adam. Attaboy, Adam. Take charge, buddy.
Boy, that's a good effort by Adam Eaton as he made sure what would have been a very difficult play for either Abreu or Laurie was a much easier play for the man coming straight in. And so the new dad taking control, calling everybody off, and eventually catching a ball that was in foul territory, but just barely foul.
And Brett doing a good job peeling out of there. So here is Park, Byung-ho Park. 29 years old last year as he takes first pitch strike. Park with the Nexon Heroes. Hit .343 with 53 home runs and drove in 146.
Pretty good year wherever you're playing.
He's 6'1", 220 pounds.
The fact that Park is here means that man that we've liked the last couple of years, Kenneth Vargas, couldn't make the ball club. There was no place for him, so he's down in the minor leagues.
Well, he took over. Mansu Lee, former coach with us, who was known as the Korean Babe Ruth. He took over his spot.
He took over.
Mansu Lee, one great guy. Wow. He gone. Took a little something off that hook. Had him way out in front.
When a hitter hasn't seen you and doesn't really know how your stuff works, he's very much at a disadvantage. And this time that off-speed breaking ball had Park well out in front of it.
Here's a good-looking young player here, Eddie Rosario. Last year hit .287, 13 homers, a couple of those coming against us. One of them just an absolute bomb. Drove in 50.
He's another product of the Twin system. Off to a slow start, but he can do a lot of things for you in left field, including play surprising defense with a very accurate arm.
Just off the plate. Well, good thing he hung that one too much, too high.
The one thing Jose has to work on is that changeup, because last year opponents hit .377 against him on changeups. And unfortunately, that was last in the league. So he's got to work on using the right speed, which is usually anywhere from 10 to 11 miles an hour between the changeup and the fastball. Now it's a little too quick.
Or just use it as a show me pitch until he does get command of it. But there is a walk.
Hey, Sox fans, the Angels are coming to town to play our White Sox from Monday, April 18th through Thursday, April 21st. All fans in attendance at any of these games will receive a 2016 Chicago White Sox calendar. Purchase your tickets today at whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME.
Here's old friend Eduardo Escobar. Had a good year for Minnesota last year. Hit 262, 12 homers, drove in 58. Had 31 doubles and 4 triples.
Took Paul Molitor a little bit of time to get used to Escobar at shortstop. But the second half of the year, when he finally took over on full-time basis from Danny Santana, he hit 278 and showed that he can really play shortstop. So Paul Molitor liked him a lot, and now he's their everyday guy.
Well, there he just perfect approach right there to the left-hander. Pokes him into right field. Well, he's got big range. Escobar does. He's got a good arm, and he only made 9 errors last season.
And as a switch hitter, he can give you a lot of flexibility in that lineup, and he keeps the inning alive for Kurt Suzuki. This is another guy, doesn't matter what he's hitting, but when he does go to bat against our Sox pitchers, whoever is pitching, Suzuki does pretty well against him.
Yeah, he's a .313 lifetime hitter against us with 46 RBIs. Now, that is getting it done against somebody.
That's pretty good.
2 of those 5 home runs were game winners. Drops the hook on him.
And right now, the hitters are looking through shadows at a pitcher in bright sunshine. Tough year last year for Suzuki, who hit just .240 after being an all-star for the first time in 2014 at the age of 30.
Just a little too low. Gap out there in left center. Big gap in left center. And Adam, he's in a few steps in right. Could he be in a few more with a 1-2 count? He gone. Helped him out, chased a bad pitch, and that'll retire the side. We'll go to the third, leading 1-0.
forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
There's an interesting look. Here's Austin Jackson. Takes ball 1. Austin 5 for 18 on the season.
Hit a couple of balls in the final game of the Indian series right on the button to left and left center field. And it's a little surprising that Rosario and Buxton in left and center are playing as shallow as they are.
Well, we talked about this opening day and a couple times since then. This guy right here is liable to be one of the real good pickups that we made. I mean, one of the real good ones. That ball is just foul, says crew chief Joe West.
See Plouffe off the line, and this ball just missed.
Well, there's 2 rules in baseball. If you're going to win, you know that. First rule in baseball always has been, always will. You got to catch the ball. Rule number 2 is don't mess with Joe West.
You can't mess with him there. He made the right call.
No. If he didn't, you can't mess with Joe West. Got him. So from just inches from a double, 1 out.
Second strikeout for Gibson as he takes a little something off. That's his changeup. And he has Austin well out in front.
Well, that looks like his special of the day right there, is pitch du jour.
If it's working for him,
yeah,
might as well go to it.
Here's Adam. And Dozier's going to get him again.
See the White Sox take on the Texas Rangers on Friday, April 22nd at 7:10. First 20,000 fans in attendance will receive a White Sox tote bag presented by the MLB Network. Stay after the game for a post-game fireworks show presented by the aforementioned MLB Network. To purchase your tickets today, you can go to whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME.
Jimmy went out to right field. Put the ball off the end of the bat into right center field. For a moment it looked like it may fall, but Sano, a long way to go, got there. Escobar wants to stick it in his pocket. So the infield single.
Normally, the way they played Rollins, nobody would have been home on the left side to make that catch. But because they don't use the radical shift, Escobar was there. But going to his right and knowing that Rollins from the left side still has pretty good speed, the only thing you can do is get yourself in bigger trouble. So he conceded the hit and just tossed it back to Gibson.
So a Kansas City special. There's Jimmy at first, and here's Abreu, who went out to Buxton in center field. Minnesota, if you're just tuning in, started off the season in Baltimore, and then went to Kansas City. 3-game series. Got swept in both of them. Good pitch.
Another fastball way inside off the plate.
Good pitch for him. And that's why. Went back in there again. Kloof almost nonchalanted it too much. Meanwhile, let him retire the side. We'll go to the bottom of the third. It is still 1-0 Sox. Center stage on CSN Chicago as the defending champion Blackhawks hit the ice against the St. Louis Blues in Game 1 of the Western Conference quarterfinals. Coverage begins at 7:30 on CSN Chicago. Blackhawks playoff hockey is brought to you by Volvo. Boy, it's hard to beat playoff hockey.
It's exciting. I had a chance to speak with John McDonough yesterday, and nobody knows better how tough it is as they have a whole lot of intensity in each and every game. Every situation is intense in the playoffs.
Was John at the ballpark yesterday?
No, I just talked to him to find out how he was doing. And a couple of knee surgeries, but appears to be
well,
okay.
I called him and he hadn't returned. John, return your call, buddy.
He's done just a great job over there.
Hey, was it 2 years before he got there? They were voted the worst sports franchise in all of sports. Every sport in any sport. They were voted the worst.
Not so anymore.
Last year, they were voted the best sports franchise in all of sports. So do the math between John and Rocky. That's into left as Melky fighting that sun. Stays with it. So Buxton is retired.
This ball stayed up long enough for Melky, who didn't see a good deal of it. Trying to get down under the sun, makes the catch, but stayed on his knees for a bit.
So John has some knee surgeries, huh? Both of them?
Yeah, I don't know if it was both or 2-on-1, but he had a couple of surgeries, knee surgeries. Certainly hope it doesn't affect his racquetball any. It was bad enough to begin with.
Oh, oh, JD. Yeah, that's cold there, especially with stitches in your knees, zippers all over them. Here's Dozier. He ripped a bullet single, what appeared to be a double. But Melky got over there very quickly as he's playing close to the line right now. And again, that's just a tribute to your center fielder. And you can see.
Well, Dozier continues to try to pull just about everything, which is very good for power and not great for batting average.
You know, that was one thing that was never talked about as much in years past with Mickey Mantle in the old Yankee Stadium. playing center field. Normally, the corners at old Yankee Stadium would play over towards the middle, right center and left center, because the lines were so short. But they saved so many doubles. As he gets him, he gone. 2 down. But they saved so many what would be doubles, held them to singles because of the speed of Mickey Mantle in center field.
That last pitch, Jose Quintana, was something that he used to great efficiency last year, and that is getting ahead of the hitter and throwing a face-high fastball. Now, for a guy that's not overpowering normally, and Jose has a good fastball, just not great, he gets a lot of mileage out of that face-high fastball and a lot of strikeouts if he keeps it right there.
Mauer got a good pitch to hit and missed it. High breaking ball just underneath it. Joe hit into a 4-6-3 double play. Softly hit ground ball.
Twins have put Danny Santana on the disabled list. Their general manager, Terry Ryan, said he doesn't believe that it's all that serious and he'll be able to come back when the 15 days are up. But they were able to call up Max Kepler, who's a young outfielder, 6'4", 205. They love him. They believe that he is going to be a star in this league, but right now they just don't have a lot of places to play him. Left-hand hitter, big power, potential.
That's fair ball. And that's a nice 1-2-3 inning for Quintana. Satellite communications in Lost Nation, Iowa. Lost Nation, yes.
The same combination that leads off with Frazier and then goes down through the middle of the order was the combination that provided the lone run of the ball game.
Todd placed a single into left field. Went to second on a wild pitch. Melky Cabrera got a cookie to get him over to third base, which he did, and then Laurie with a soft single back through the middle, a drawn in infield. I don't know, 3 hits, no errors for us. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for them, as that's a good pitch by Gibson. Ball hit hard. Escobar's got him. Low throw. Mauer cannot come up with it, so that'll be an error on Escobar.
Well, that was a pretty good play to stay in front of it, but the throw was not picked. So as you probably all know, Mauer, a converted catcher into a first baseman, could not stop the error on the long hop. Normally this isn't that difficult to play, but it is E6.
First error for Escobar, 5th committed by the Twins. So here's Melky.
The wind has really started to whip up, blowing straight out toward right center field, and anything hitting the air that way, you got a good chance of getting out of here.
They can get some unbelievable winds here. They call them straight line winds. Wow. I mean, they'll just take 200-year-old trees and twig them, just flatten them right out. Not too far from here, I was looking at the news this morning and the weather. Not too far from here, I can't remember the place. They had 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Good hitter's wind. Not sure the pitchers would appreciate that unless it was blowing straight in, of course.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, those winds, that was the most wind I've ever seen at Augusta during the Masters. And that slowly developed. He drops the ball, but he says on the transfer, and Todd says, let's look at it.
Wasn't a great throw by Dozier. Now Paul Molitor is going to come out. We'll watch it again. And I'm not so sure that was on the transfer.
Well, Ripperger calls him out, and Todd's just standing there, and now Robin waiting to try to get the Let's take another look.
Yeah, he came across and Frazier slid right into the bag, so it wasn't a question of one of those plays that we've seen.
Well, he caught the ball.
Yeah, he did. But a slow throw by Dozier made it impossible to even contemplate a double play.
So here's Brett at that RBI single, picking up his first RBI of the season. You can see where Escobar had his right hand when he made the catch with his glove hand. And they certainly weren't going to turn it anyway.
With the infield in, even somewhat off the hands, he was able to ease that ball through the drawn-in infield, and driving in his first run as a member of the Sox.
There's a shot. So 1 out, 2 on.
Red now 2 for 2, and that fastball on the inner portion again. This time hit a whole lot harder than it was the first time.
Here's Ivy, 1 out to Buxton in center field. Breaking ball. Head on the plate. 1-1 to count with one down, and Cabrera and Laurie at second and first. Yanks that one foul.
As you can see for Gibson, throwing the fastball 61% of the time. With the changeup, he feels the second best pitch, 18, and then curveball slider, 11 each.
Suzuki with the block to keep it in front of him. Let's take advantage of that error. He got a roller right there and a little too quick.
Yeah, it took a whole lot off that one. And fortunately for him, he left it inside.
Well, there's a pitch right there that a veteran right-handed hitter got a good chance to hit that ball hard and keep it fair. The youngsters.
With Gibson throwing consistently inside with the fastball to right-handers. Ball guy down the left field line, very busy.
Took that pitch nicely. Attaboy out. Boy, what a talented young man that is right there. Wow. So 3-2 with 1 out, 2 on. And that'll load him up. That's a good at bat right there by that youngster.
Sox fans, our pregame patio parties are the best deals in the ballpark. Tickets are all inclusive. You get a game ticket, an all-you-can-eat buffet catered by Baseball Buffet. There's wine and Miller beverages. Also, the patio opens 90 minutes prior to the game and closes 30 minutes after the start of the game. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/group. And so, meeting at the mound, Neil Allen, pitching coach, coming out and talking with Gibson, who has pretty much stayed inside to the right-hand hitters.
Neil Allen, former right-handed pitcher, had one of the better curveballs in the major leagues. But right here, Sox packed with Sox, and here's Navarro. Downer struck out on the slow breaking ball his first trip. Right now his focus should be trying to hit this ball into left center field. They're going to come home. So Dozier gets the force at home. 2 out, bases still loaded. That's a judgment call on the second baseman.
Somewhat surprising, especially with the catcher going down the line, especially when the catcher gets turned around in the batter's box. But Dozier felt that he could ill afford to miss the double play and give up the run. So the inning continues, and still the bases are loaded.
I'm glad he came home.
Yeah, so am I, because I thought that would have been 2.
That's an automatic 2 right there. It gives Austin Jackson a chance. He struck out also on a slow curveball. And that breaking ball misses inside.
Playing Austin a touch to the right of center field as you look at the bases full. Chance to put a little more daylight between our Sox and their Twins.
Well, going back to Deontay's at bat right there, there's a pitch that if he is focused on hitting the ball in the left center field, good chance he's going to hit it right back through the middle, probably with something hard, with something on it.
Yeah, that's what Gibson wants, because he's going to change speeds and everything's sinking. He throws a lot of ground balls. He's thrown 7 of them already. He's just hoping that guys try to pull him.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
All right. Big take right there.
Grew with the bases loaded. Bordering on spectacular for Austin Jackson. 338 with 1 home run. Sox will take a base hit.
Two out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. That ball hit hard. Stay fair. He looks up. Foul. Dang. Gummit. Austin thinks it's fair.
As does Joe McEwing, I believe. It's only 3:39 down the line. Jackson hit the daylights out of it. It looked like it stayed fair a long time. Joe West said no. And Robin wants to have a look at the replay.
And we'll take another look at it if we can find the baseball.
There you see the baseball, and if it's obscured, and it's not, you can see the baseball all the way just to the left of the pole.
It's foul.
And it's foul.
Just by inches. By inches.
As long as you can see the baseball as it crosses this angle in front of the pole, it's a foul ball.
That ball went between the foul line and the stands, and there is not. Now they're going to have a little confab out there. That ball, that's hard to do right there. That might be the only time that's been done since this ballpark's been here. Right there, it went between the foul pole and the stands.
That literally missed by maybe a couple of inches. There you see the ball, you see the shadow, and absolutely amazing the fact that it missed by literally, well, I'd say maybe an inch or 2 at the most.
Yeah. And he gets it right back to the middle. So Austin Jackson with a big base hit scores a pair, and it is 3-0 Sox. What an at bat by Austin.
Well, there's an example of waiting for a pitch back far enough where you can take it up the middle and you're not trying to pull it. He drives in his 2nd and 3rd run of the year. This is a rocket back up the middle. Gibson wanted it outside, didn't get it there. It's right down the middle of the plate. And Austin Jackson with another big hit. Something he's been doing. He came over noted for his defense.
Well, as we talked about, he might be the unsung pickup for this ball club. With all the big ones they had, he might be the one with the way he can throw that leather. So 2 unearned runs, and we did take advantage of the miscue. We'll take it. So the Sox being very opportunistic, lead at 3-0. Official White Sox MasterCard debit card only available at your local Wintrust community bank. So go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Member FDIC. 3-0 Sox lead.
It's just great to see this team taking advantage of an error, keeping the inning alive, and then after a would-be grand slam hooked just in front of the pole, Austin Jackson came through with his second and third runs driven in.
Well, we've had 2 breaks. The mental error by Suzuki and Gibson to Cabrera. That's the first one. And a physical error that we took advantage of. All 3 runs.
And the fact that the inning stayed alive because Dozier came home instead of looking for 2.
Well, last year probably would have been the opposite.
Yeah, it's true.
So here is Miguel Sano Jean. Takes first pitch. He lined out hard to Jackson in center field.
It's only 23 years old. Last year, he hit 15 home runs, drove in 48 in just 286 at bats. That pretty much in a normal season pencils out to about 30 and 100.
That pitch off the plate. Come back and get him. No walks. You just got a break right there. You had a great at bat by your center fielder, Austin Jackson. Make him hit his way on. There's one. Big hack.
Last year, the one thing that slowed him down late in the season was a hamstring injury, but speed is not a big part of his game anyway. Raw power is.
Good pitch. Had part of the zone. Meanwhile, the leadoff walk.
Second walk of the afternoon, as this one did pick up a piece of the lower part of the zone. The Honda pitch tracks will show you that the call could have gone either way and went Sano's way.
So here's Plouffe. He fouled out to Adam Eaton in right field. Plouffe has been somewhat of an enigma to me. I remember talking about him in 2011 when he first came up, first full year. I thought this guy had a chance to be a 30-35 home run a year guy. And he was not that good at third base, but he's gone the opposite. He's become a terrific third baseman. And his offense, I don't even think he scratched the surface on what he could do if he'd make a change up there. Not so much mechanically at the plate, but in the approach. He's got big power.
Well, last year he hit 22 home runs, drove in 86, hit just 244. And this year they're looking for some big things as they decided to keep him around instead of moving him and opening third base for the natural third baseman Sano.
Well, actually, every year since 2011, they've been looking for big things from Trevor.
Yep.
And they got him with the leather, but not the lumber. Trevor did have 35 doubles last year to go along with his 22 homers. But he ought to be a 100, 120 RBI guy. That ball is ripped. They're going to get that one. So that leadoff walk's got him in trouble.
Plouffe has been a doubles machine for this ball club. 2 years ago 40, last year 35, and this time one hop against the wall. No chance at all for Melky, but he plays the carom nicely, gets it back in, and now you sit with the infield back. Certainly going to concede one, hoping to stop two from scoring.
And here's Park. Yong-ho struck out on a slow curveball. That one hangs outside.
That's 2 years in Korea. 105 home runs and also in excess of 300 strikeouts.
One and two the count.
Twins got him, including the posting fee, for 4 years at $25 million. So if he can produce, he's going to be a bargain.
Don't want to throw him a strike right here. Not the way he's been striking out.
No, he doesn't make a whole lot of contact.
Hard high or very slow low. That had part of the zone, just on the corner. So the count 2-2. Out in front.
Just able to stay alive on the same pitch that struck him out back in the second. Good curveball. And just a piece from Park.
full count. Rosario on deck. I'll throw him a fastball, make it be up a little bit. Ate him up, ate him up. 1 out. Yes.
Well, good fastball right in on his hands. Nothing he could do with that. Except pop it up. Navarro making the play. Great location to a guy you got to figure is very anxious to show his new team that he can be a run producer. Just not this time.
You cannot ease up. This guy is tough. Rosario, he drew a walk his first trip. Oh, 1 to count.
This is not a guy who's going to walk too much. In fact, last year, a real statistical oddity. He had as many triples as he did walks. 15 triples, which is a lot, and just 15 walks, which is very few.
Nice. Had him way out in front. Rosario made his major league debut back May 6th last season. Went to the plate in his first game against Scott Kazmir of Oakland. And the first pitch he saw from Scott, he hit it out of there.
Well, when you're 23 and you come up, you lead the league in assists and triples. You're getting it done.
Oh, he's going to be a good one. He's going to be a real good one.
Yanner, if he does call for that breaking ball, got to make sure that he keeps it in front of him. With Sano 90 feet away.
Watch out. Last year he hit one in that upper deck out there in right center field against us.
Yeah, we knew that he could hit. We didn't believe that he had that much power, but he certainly showed it to us.
Once again, the 2-2. And he fights that one off.
Had to throw that fastball up and in and throw it by him.
3-5-0 for our guys, 0-3 and a big one for their guys. But they are threatening.
That was a tough pitch to fight off. That slow breaking ball out of the zone, and Rosario was able to just get a piece, especially after a couple of high fastballs. He one-hands it and stays alive.
You got Abreu, who is in for the most part, just a little bit in front of halfway. All right. 2 down.
Cerro drives in his first run of the year. And the Twins, who've had some problems scoring runs, score their first at home as the leadoff walk comes back to supply the run.
I don't know what it is now, but last year towards the after 2/3 of the season, the average for the leadoff walk scoring was 37%. Escobar. Singled his first trip. And after all these years in the game, if you think Joe Groove got us that number, if you'd asked me what's the percentage of leadoff walk scoring, I'd probably said 40, 45, somewhere along there. I thought it was higher, be higher than 37%. It seems like it.
Seems like for whatever reason, leadoff walks seem to score much more frequently than leadoff base hits, although you would think the odds would be absolutely the same.
And it seems to me that guys getting drilled or hit leading off an inning, they never score. He gone. So the leadoff walk does indeed come around to score. Win of the 5th, leading 3-1. Here in the 5th, it'll be Rollins, Abreu, and Frazier. Rollins 1 for 2 with an infield single. That's into left field. So 1 pitch, 1 out. Rosario.
Join us for Dia de la Familia at U.S. Cellular Field when the White Sox face the Texas Rangers on Saturday, April 23rd. First 20,000 fans will receive a Jose Abreu plush bleacher creature presented by Total Performance Engine Oils. You can visit WhiteSox.com to purchase your tickets today.
Breaking ball, no. Jose has gone out to center and grounded to third. Sox with 1 in the second, 2 in the fourth. Twins with 1 last inning.
Well ahead of Gibson. Good hitter's pitch. Gibson probably felt the same way. Now we'll see if Jose gets the 3-0 green light.
1 out, nobody on. Why not?
You would think so.
Why not? Looked like he may have been on it. Meanwhile, 1 out walk, second walk issued by Gibson, and that'll bring up Frazier, tied. RBI single and a run scored in the second. And he reached on an arrow, leading off last inning.
Now the first walk last inning to Avi scored.
Next ball 1. Tags it up and 2-0.
That's 6 straight bad ones. Suzuki looking over in the dugout to see what they might have in mind.
That pitch is inside, well inside.
Yeah, I think Frazier is looking back at Kerwin Danley, who's had a good game for the most part. That pitch way off the plate.
Yeah, that wasn't even close. You're not going to get them all right, especially on a couple we said could go either way. But that one was way inside.
Gibson out of the University of Missouri. First round pick back in 2009.
Well, he was 3-0 against us last year, 4-0 career. And a full count. Opening day, if you're just tuning in, here at Target Field 2016. Just got a piece of it. Off day tomorrow.
Off day and then 19 straight after that off day. So the boys will make the most of it.
Have you ever seen that in April?
No, I've never seen fewer off days in April.
No, neither.
One scheduled off day. That's it.
That's it. Just one. That's in the center field. That's a can of corn. So here is Melky. 0 for 2, but had a good at bat his first time up. After Frazier's single, went second on a wild pitch. On a 2-2 count, he got a slow curveball, second slow curveball in that sequence. Got him over to third, and then he scored.
When a sinker baller starts to throw fly balls, normally that's not a good sign, and it appears that with the 84th pitch forthcoming, this might be a time for Melky to take advantage of it. Both Rollins and Frazier hitting fly balls against the sinker baller.
Way out in front.
Here you see fastballs at 58%. He certainly likes his changeup. Just 8% curveballs. the changeup 22% of the time.
That's softly hit, and that's going to be a Kansas City special right there. Is Abreu reading that ball perfectly. Just rolls on into third base.
Fastball inside and up, and Melky able to muscle it into right field. This is probably an ill-advised throw by Sano, who's got a big arm. He can throw it, but there's no chance to get Abreu, especially with 2 outs.
Well,
when you're running on the pitch. Yeah.
Well, but still, the thing is a lot of guys, if they don't read that, they're not going to try to go into third. He read it perfectly. So here's Brett. He's 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run scored. That could have gone either way, but it did have just a piece of the corner.
When a sinker baller starts to get the ball up, that's when he's very vulnerable.
Ow. Got him and then load him up. .42 degrees of game time.
Melky can go to second base if he'd like. The bullpen up and going, and it's Ryan Presley. So another sign that Neil Allen, the pitching coach, is noticing that Gibson's starting to get things up, meaning he's starting to tire, and he is vulnerable.
So here's Javi. He's going out to center, walked and scored. Sacks packed with our guys. 2 down. Oh, had a good pitch to hit underneath it, pops it up, and that'll retire the side. So we threaten, can't score, halfway home, leading by 2. As we get set to go to the Minnesota half of the 5th inning, it'll be Suzuki, Buxton, then back to the top of the order with Brian Dozier. Opening day. It's the most opening days you've ever been through in a season.
Well, I think 3 is right up there. I don't know how many. I'm not sure how many more you can have.
Yeah, 3 is the most I think I've been through too, a couple of times. Well, if you had the schedule like we had, you could have gone through, easily gone through 4. But
I just can't remember just one off day in April.
I can't either. Nope. All right. Brady. 1 out.
Join us at U.S. Cellular Field throughout the 2016 season for Free T-Shirt Thursday. First 10,000 fans at every White Sox regular season home game will receive a specially designed White Sox T-shirt. To purchase your free T-Shirt Thursday tickets, visit whitesox.com.
So here's Byron Buxton, 22-year-old center fielder.
He can bunt, and he does it very well. And normally with a left-hander, he'll push it up the first base side.
Buxton hit a low line drive in the left field that Melky, fighting that sun all the way, stayed with it and made the catch. Buxton takes strike 1.
Thinking about it, shortened up, but thought the pitch was out of the zone, and it wasn't. This guy has all kinds of talent. He's been a little slower to develop than they had thought because of injuries. He's been hurt quite a bit in the early going of his career. But tremendous skills, and he is a burner.
Two and 1. Buxton is 3 for 20 on the season. Pops him up right side. Adam. 2 down. And that'll bring up Dozier. 1 for 2. A hard single in the left field and a strikeout. First of 3 against these guys. We'll have an off day tomorrow. Off day in April. And then on Wednesday, Carlos Rodon against the big right-hander Phil Hughes. Thursday afternoon in the finale, Matt Latos against Urban Santana. Wednesday's game will be over WPWR, and Thursday right back here on Comcast Sportsnet. That's going to be a souvenir.
The infield has shifted drastically on Dozier, inviting him to take the ball through the right side. But as his career has moved along and he started to hit the ball out of the ballpark with more frequency, he has become pretty much a dead pull hitter. There you take a look at the defense and you see Brett Laurie is playing on the grass, but on the third base side of second.
That ball's hammered. Stay with it. He does. Yes. Beautiful catch by Melky.
Well, he caught it, and the inning is over, and you can come in now, Melky.
That'll retire the side. We're into the 6th.
He turns around, secures it, and it's an out.
family of instant tickets where you can win up to $3 million instantly. Get ready to live large. Jumbo collection from the Illinois Lottery. Navarro, Jackson, then back to the top of the order with Adam Eaton to face the 6'6" right-hander Cal Gibson of now resides in Fort Myers. There's a strike. Yano for 2.
Don't look like it fouled off his foot. He's not going to feel good on a very cold day. Because I'm not sure when that feels good.
Just got a piece of it.
It was a nice stop by Suzuki. Occasionally catchers will get a bit lazy with nobody on base and they fall into some bad habits. That time he moved nicely to his right, smothered the ball, kept it at his feet, and although there's nobody on, it's a good habit to get into.
Bauer. 1 out. So here's the man who's had a terrific at bat. He struck out his first trip, and in the 4th inning, with 2 out, hits this shot. Zach Kite by an inch, maybe 2, no more. Foul. And then came back and got himself a hard single back through the middle to knock in a pair. And that's where we stand right now, 3-1.
Remember Jackson coming up, and at the time he was coming up through the Yankee system. He was considered an untouchable. And then Detroit decided that it'd be a good deal to trade Curtis Granderson, a pull-hitting left-hand hitter, to New York and get a fine defensive center fielder. And Jackson coming back to Detroit with that huge center field, spacious alleys. Jackson patrolled it very well. Turned out to be a good trade for both teams. Ryan Presley for the 2nd time loosening in the pen. Gibson's knocking at the door of 100 pitches. This will be number 97 forthcoming.
Good job by Austin just to fight that good pitch off.
Fourth inning particularly tough. The second, not exactly a day at the beach for Gibson. And the real good pitchers come out of the University of Missouri.
Full count. Another full count to Austin. that was a get me over right there. Got just up a little too much for him.
Gibson came into this with a 4-0 record lifetime against our Sox, an ERA of 2.13. So he's been very tough in 6 career starts against our ball club.
Two down.
Swing at ball 4. This was a changeup. Good sink on it. Suzuki able to corral it, and quickly 2 up, 2 down.
Here's Adam. 3 ground balls, 2 to second, 1 to short.
Trevor Plouffe thinks that he might be entertaining the idea of a bunt as he's in on the grass at third.
2-0.
This is where if Adam can get out in front of one and pull it into the gap in right center, he can run all day. And that time Gibson got a break on a fastball that was good 2-3 inches off the outside corner.
Three and one. So the 2-out walk. Third walk issued by Gibson. And that'll bring up Jimmy Rollins and bring out Paul Molitor, Hall of Famer.
And that's going to be it as he points to the pen. So all things considered, for the big right-hander, he threw the ball very well. So as Gibson walks out, we'll step out and be back after these messages. In relief of Kyle Gibson. There you look at the numbers this year. He's been pretty close to unhittable. A couple of hits but no runs. Presley 6'3", 210 out of Dallas last year. His ERA below 3, 3-2 in 27 games with an ERA of 2.93.
That pitch outside. Jimmy 1 for 3. Don't help him out. 2-0.
Here's an interesting part of a Bloody Mary. And for me, you can hold the Mary and keep the cheeseburger right there. Very nicely done.
And for me, just make sure you got some Tabasco in that Bloody Mary.
And you give me the cheeseburger?
You can have the cheeseburger.
Oh, thank you. Okay, that's good.
Three and 0. Abreu on deck. Take 2. That didn't take long. 2 out. Back-to-back walks to Eaton and Rollins, and here comes Jose. So 0 for 2 with a walk. That breaking ball low and away. 5 in a row.
Presley, originally a Rule 5 draft out of the Boston organization back in 2012. Rule 5 meaning they didn't protect him on their major league roster. Minnesota had a shot at him. They got him, and he's been pretty good with them.
Out and around it. Underneath, and he gets out of it. We don't get a hit. We strand a pair. We go to the bottom of the 6th, leading 3-1.
And it involves Melky Cabrera. Line drive rocket off the bat of Brian Dozier. Melky circles the wagons, but at the end he makes the catch and ends the inning. Nice play by Melky, and he deserves our Xfinity high-speed action replay.
It'll be Mauer, Sano, and Plouffe. Just checking my iPad break there, talking about how they got to have a quick fix to that new slide rule. You know, the one thing I think nobody's talked about, certainly enough, if at all, I haven't heard it, is the fact if you go back and you check out on all the guys sliding into second base, the second baseman and the shortstop, I think you'll find out that the vast majority of injuries came to the runner, not to the second baseman and the shortstop.
Well, most guys who play that position in the inner defense know how to protect themselves.
Well, I'll tell you how. I can speak from experience. I got a broken leg and a dislocated ankle because they know how to protect themselves.
Come across the bag and drop that arm angle to make sure that the runner gets down a lot more quickly than he'd want to get down.
And then all of a sudden you hear a pow pow.
And that's it.
you know your leg's broken. You pick your leg up and your foot's pointing down at the ground. Something's wrong with that picture. No, but that's, and then the Posey rule at home plate. That's still to me is. I know they're trying to do things to protect players, which is nothing wrong with that. But the game's still got to be played. And when you can't go into second base and break up a double play without having to call. I think the one Bautista going in down at Tampa Bay was.
Yeah, but that was different because he reached out and grabbed him by the leg. That's going to get called all the time.
Yeah, but you don't know. You don't know if it wasn't called. It was going to be called anyway. You just don't know it. But the only thing they're doing really is come on now. Bobbles, too late. So Mauer is aboard.
Usually when you can get Mauer to pull the ball on the ground, you're going to be able to get him. And that goes as a base hit. Probably a play that Brett would tell you he should have made, but didn't.
So the leadoff man aboard, and here is Sano. He is lined to center, and he has walked and scored. Sox lead at 3-1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And going through the middle of the lineup, a big inning right here for Quintana. But the only thing these rules are doing is making it tougher on the umpires.
Well, it certainly becomes more of an interpretation play than they probably would like. I think the play at the plate is an easy one to change the rule on, in which case if the catcher is out front of home plate, you can't hit him. If he chooses to block the plate, well, then he's fair game. That would pretty much take interpretation completely out of the equation.
And once again, you're going to find out that more injuries occur to the runner in that play than they do to the catcher.
Well, look at A.J. Pollock, Arizona Diamondbacks center fielder. Came in, head first slide at the plate, tried to brace himself with his right arm, and broke it.
I didn't see that. I tried to find it, and I couldn't find it on my iPad.
Well, for them, a terrible loss.
Oh, he's a good player.
And that fastball had most of the corner. Sano is not really happy with the call, but that ball had most of the plate. This is a really good pitch.
Yeah, I think he was thrown out of the game the other day.
Yep, he was.
Strikes.
But as you can see there, it had most of the plate. That's our Honda pitch tracks, and you might complain about that, but you better go out there and get it, because that's going to be called most of the time.
Here's Plouffe. He's 1 for 2. Takes a strike. Hard double. One hop the fence in left center. First double of the season.
Coming into this game, when Mauer grounded into the second double play of Minnesota season in the first inning, Plouffe had grounded into the only other double play by the Twins this year.
Well, I've talked to some umpires about the new quote rules, so to speak. They just don't like it. You know, they don't want any part of it, but they got to because it's their job. Two and one to count.
Twins, I'm sure by now, have realized that they are bucking history if they don't win this ball game, because no team that started out 0-7 ever made the playoffs.
Three and one.
And only 3 teams since 1901 that started out 0-6 made the playoffs. 74 Pirates, 75 Red Sox, and 95 Reds.
So he walks, and that's the tying run aboard now. As Mauer moves into second, here comes Coop.
That's a third walk for Jose, who usually has very good control.
Young Ho Park. Park is struck out and fouled out to Navarro. Won the count. Outfield slightly to the right. Big gap out there in left center. He's having trouble with that pitch. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Park last year in Korea, 53 homers, 146 knocked in.
In 2012, not only won the most valuable player in the league, but won a Gold Glove at first base. But here, used almost primarily as a designated hitter.
Hard high or slow low.
Chose the hard high, but probably wanted it a touch higher.
Yeah.
I'm not sure anybody got more mileage out of that high fastball ahead of the hitters last year than Jose did.
Not on our staff.
No, he was really good at it. It's a pitch called higher than high, where you make it look enticing enough, but not quite hittable. Nice stop by DeHonor. That could have easily have gotten by, in which case the tying runs would have moved up into scoring position. Well, this is a good block, because this one bounces well in front of home plate. Able to take it off the chest protector, angles the body, brings the elbows in, which is really strong technique from Navarro.
So Mauer in the third on that wild pitch. And that's the one thing about trying to get the hitter to get himself out on a real bad pitch, is you take that chance.
You want to go back to the face high fastball just out of the zone. He'll probably strike him out if he can get it in the spot.
So that wild pitch is not going to get Mauer home. Didn't hit it deep enough, and that's respect for Austin Jackson.
I'm kind of surprised that he didn't take off.
Me too.
Mauer's got pretty decent speed. I mean, I know he's a big man. I know he caught for a lot of years, but he was always known as a catcher with better than average speed. Now he's a first baseman with probably an average speed. I thought he might have been able to make it, but
well, I was just getting ready to say that wild pitch is going to cost him a run.
He's looking, but with everything going for Austin Jackson, meaning he had a chance to set up moving all of his weight forward to make the throw. He decided to hold up.
Can't ease up. Someone tried to hunt him down. Rosario has walked. There's a ground ball to second, knocking in Sano, back in the 4th inning.
This Twin system is rated as one of the best in baseball. It's been very productive the last few years under Terry Ryan, who is back for his 2nd stint as a GM of this club.
Collins, and he pitches out of it. Jose Quintana, one of the best in the business at pitching out of jams. Finale right here from Minneapolis as Matt Latos takes over on the Twins. Coverage begins at 11:30 a.m. with White Sox pregame live presented by the Koalas family of dealerships on CSN Chicago. Now tomorrow's an off day. Wednesday's game will be over WPWR, and then we just said Thursday right back here on Comcast Sports. Todd Frazier, Melky Cabrera, Brett Lawrie.
Jose Quintana, as he normally does, just a stellar job of keeping his team in the ball game. In this case, he's got a 2-run lead, something he had last time when he left the ball game in Oakland, only to see the bullpen not able to keep it.
Be quiet.
He'll be fine today.
No, he is one of the best in the business, as I mentioned, in pitching out of jams. He always has been. That was actually the first thing that really brought him into you, so to speak, when he first joined us, was how he was not afraid to get out of jams.
That game that he threw in Yankee Stadium, where he just battled and was as tough as he could possibly be when he got in trouble, pretty much has characterized his entire career.
Well, that first start he had against Cleveland, he came in relief and did a great job in his debut, and then he had a start against them, and he wait a minute, this kid's not afraid to pitch out of a jam.
Now he's a quality pitcher, maybe one of the guys that is least appreciated in baseball.
Buxton.
Fans experience Levy Restaurant's fine dining and service while enjoying a breathtaking view of U.S. Cellular Field from the First Merit Bank Stadium Club. Memberships are available to season ticket holders, and the First Merit Bank Stadium Club is also perfect for non-game day events, including weddings and corporate parties. For more information, call 312-674-1000.
Melky takes a strike. Melky's 1 for 3. 1-1 pitch. Attaboy. 1 out single. Melky 2 for 4.
Pretty important on this team for Melky to get off to a much better start than he did last season. Last season had a hard time driving in runs early, and the batting average wasn't there. This guy has been a 280 plus hitter his entire career. No reason to assume that he shouldn't go back to that this year. And early in the season, his presence as a left-handed bat in the lineup is essential.
Well, last year and even in 14, you being a former pitcher know that when you don't have a lot of base runners, it doesn't put a whole lot of pressure on the pitcher. We have not been able to put pressure on pitchers the last couple of seasons. And again, going back to Kansas City, a tip of the cap to them. And until somebody knocks them off, they still have to be the favorites in this division, because they are constantly putting guys on base and constantly putting pressure on the pitcher.
They had 2 excellent years in a row. No reason to assume that their ball club is going to be any weaker this year. But there is reason to assume that the division might get a little tougher this year.
Yeah, the division is going to be tougher. There's no question about that. Yeah, you let pitchers go out there and freewheel it. You got a lot of them can handle it, but you got more that can't. The more pressure you put on them, the more they wilt.
Matt Albers, who's thrown the ball exceedingly well for quite some time, loosening in the pen.
Two pitch. No, he just a decent lead. Got him. 2 down.
So the perfect day for Brett Lowry is put to rest. Was a high fastball by him. He had a couple of base hits, was hit by a pitch, driven in a run and scored a run. So it's been a busy day for Brett.
Here's Avi. They may have slowed it down with his hand. Meanwhile, that'll retire the side. 7th inning stretch. We lead it 3-1.
Time brought to you by Miller Lite, and here's our Miller Moments, and they come courtesy of Jose Quintana. Pitching out of jam in the second, pitching out of yet another jam in the fourth, where he gave up the lone run, and getting out of a jam in the sixth. Well, fine job by Jose Quintana. Our Miller Moments, and he went 6, gave up a run on 4 hits with 3 walks and 5 strikeouts, giving way to Matt Albers, who's been absolutely brilliant. On for the 4th time, he's given up nothing. 1 hit in 4 innings, no walks, 4 strikeouts. A scoreless streak that goes back to last year. 27 straight appearances.
Lower third of the Minnesota order, Escobar, Suzuki, and Buxton, the scheduled hitters. Escobar 1 for 2. Escobar, that single in the second. He struck out in the 4th. First pitch strike. Corners in close. Outfield slides to the left. That's trouble. Melky quickly gets to it, holds him to a single. So a Kansas City special. Leadoff man aboard.
Escobar just reaches out, takes this ball well out of the strike zone, and dumps it into left field. So he's 2 for 3.
And here's Suzuki. Gerd has struck out and fouled out to his count. Check that to the first baseman, Jose Abreu. Catches it. Now rack him up. Yes.
A good idea by Suzuki, bad execution, and Matt Albers taking advantage of it, bouncing off the mound quickly, and then the double play throw to first base. So Escobar off with the bunt and gets doubled up, and this could be the biggest play of the ball game.
Well, you see him looking there. Is that a good play? No. It's not a good play, but it's not a terrible play either, because that's when the runner gets caught in between right there. He didn't know if the ball was going to hit the ground all of a sudden between Albers and Frazier. We'll take it. Second double play we've turned in this ball game. Buxton, 1-1 to count.
With his speed and his ability, he should be bunting once a game.
Well, I completely agree with you. I mean, at least once a game, until you get the feel, until he lets the game come to him with his talent, with his ability.
Well, he's been the #1 prospect in the minor leagues for a long time, and is yet to see all of that potential translate into performance.
As there's a base hit, so now that play looks even bigger. You know, it's funny how when young guys come up who can really run like Buxton can, and they do start bunting a little bit for base hits, for some reason they start to swing the bats a little better.
Well, I think if you square around, you just have a better look at the pitch. And all of a sudden you bring those guys in at the corners on both sides, and then you have more room to hit through.
Well, here's Dozier. He's 1 for 3 and was robbed of extra bases on a beautiful catch by Melky Cabrera in left field. Wow.
Zach Duke loosening in the pen, and that means that if this inning does not end with Dozier, it's going to be Duke against Mauer. Here's a look at Zach.
Out, and if you miss that catch back in the 5th,
Melky circles the wagons and puts it away.
Fighting that sun.
Boy, it's a tough sun field too.
Oh yeah, that Albers, another good job. That'll retire the side. We're into the 8th. Leading 3-1. That's all he does. He just gets it done. We're into the top of the 8th inning. Navarro, Jackson, then back to the top of the order with Adam Eaton. Navarro. DeHonor 0 for 3 today. Outfield. For the most part, straight up. Bit of a gap out there in left center. First of 3 on this road trip in 4 days. Off day tomorrow and Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon, and after that game on Thursday, go down to St. Pete, finish it off with 3 games against the Rays over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Makes it real tough if your offense can come through, score one more run, put a little more daylight between themselves and the Twins.
Now Plouffe on first base out of second. Ball gets away, but they're going to get him. 1 out.
You can enjoy a picnic in the outfield at U.S. Cellular Field and meet some of the 2016 White Sox team members and talk to White Sox alumni. Join us on Saturday, June 25th for Picnic in the Park. All proceeds benefit White Sox charities. So to purchase tickets, visit whitesox.org. WhiteSoxCharities.org.
So here's a man who has had a 2-run single, and he had some kind of at bat. Takes a strike. 40,638. .42 degrees at game time. That's into left field. And here's that great at bat back in the 4th inning after he just missed a grand slam.
Biggest at bat of the day, right back up the middle, scoring 2. And that's the difference in this game.
So many times that's going to happen where you just missed. If you didn't see that, no more than a couple of inches, at best, a grand slam, you see a strikeout. But on the very next pitch, you got that 2-run single. Oh, I'd like to have a dozen golf balls for every one I hit out of the ballpark with 2 strikes and then struck out.
Just foul?
Yeah. Just foul and then grab some bench, Hall. Adam is 0 for 3. I'll make it 0 for 4. No. Yeah, he just got it. All right, bottom of the 8th, still leading by 2. Double clutch. Has them on the field, and they have been reviewing it for a while. It was a double clutch by Dozier. Who that is?
It's very close at first base, and they're still in the midst of this review.
He's going to get to front of the bag, which he's been doing that with last part of last year and early this season.
It looks like he was actually there before the ball settled in the glove. Now we'll have to see.
Safe.
And he is. He
Yes.
was there before the ball settled in the glove. And you would think the double clutch would cost Dozier an error, but we'll have to see.
Get in the front of the bag. If he gets the front part or the middle of it, he's out. So they're going to give him a base hit. That's good. We'll take it. So here's Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy is 1 for 3. Make him pay.
Here's a pretty decent opportunity to steal second base.
Throwing away ball 1.
Adam Eaton looking over at Joe McEwing at third base, going through his set of signs.
Three 8-0 for us, 1-6 and 1 for them. We have stranded 10. They have stranded 5.
Presley almost threw that one away.
Make it 6.
That would have had a real good chance of sending Adam Eaton all the way to third base.
Two and 0 the count. Nice gap out there in right center field if he can find it. Knocked down. He's got plenty of time. And that will retire the side. So now we'll go to the bottom of the 8th, still leading 3-1.
live streaming sports service delivers every out-of-market game live on HD on over 400 supported devices, including a free subscription to @Bat Premium. That's the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. So we've got a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Zach Duke, who is likely on for just one hitter, that being Joe Mauer. There you look at the numbers. Has not been a good early season for Zach, and Mauer has had pretty good luck against Duke. 3 for 8 lifetime, as Don Cooper talking it over with Robin Ventura.
The only time I've ever seen Joe Mauer really look bad against the left-hander was the first 2 times he faced Chris Sale, especially the first time.
Yeah, he looked like he was swinging at the invisible ball. But Chris has made a lot of left-handers look like that.
I know it. That's ball 1. Yeah, I've never seen Joe look like that, ever, in his whole career that he's played against us.
Nate Jones loosening up.
Come on, Zach, no walks. They give me his way on.
It's 3 right-handers after Mauer, Snow, Plouffe, and Park.
Ball hit hard. Meanwhile, we got a man there. Jimmy throws him out. Big out. And here comes Robin. So Zach gets the job done. Getting his man. He'll depart. Nate Jones comes on, and we'll be back.
Comes on, most likely for 2/3 of an inning. On for the 4th time. He's 1-0. ERA a touch over 3. He's had 3 strikeouts in 2 2/3 innings, and he's going to look at Sano and possibly Plouffe, who's due up after Sano, and then it's Park after that. But I'm sure we'll probably see a pinch hitter.
You're looking at 2 talents right here. Power against power. Sano is 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. That pitch at 96. Whoops. That one was some movement at 97.
I would say a little tardy on that one. You would think after looking at that swing that might as well throw another one.
That's up high. That one at 97 as well. Now he's going to drop it on him. And it misses.
I think the best thing he can do is throw him a high fastball. Last year, Sano was 1 for 36 on fastballs up. That was last of 107 full-time players.
Watch out.
Tried to throw a slider, slipped out of his hands and almost hit him.
Now you got 4 counts.
On a cold day, it's tough to get a grip, and that's why just a high fastball. See how far he can hit it.
Well, right now he just shortened up that fastball by at least 6 inches. But he got it by him anyway. He gone. 2 down.
Here it comes. My strength against your strength, and Sano's strength was not quite good enough as he's well tardy on that 97.
Well, you just read something. He was last.
Yeah, I mean,
fastballs up.
Not going to be able to hit the fastball up. You can sometimes drop the head on one down.
You know, to this day, a lot of hitters, or pitchers, I should say, a lot of pitchers don't understand how much tougher it is to hit a low 100-mile-an-hour fastball than it is to hit a high 95-mile-an-hour fastball. It is so much tougher to hit it up high than down low. It's unbelievable because you get gravity working for you on that low pitch. Plouffe fouled out to Eaton, doubled, then walked. That's into center field. That's a can of corn for our guy. And that'll retire the side. We have completed 8. We lead it 3-1.
Get a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Trevor May. So nice job done by Ryan Presley. Trevor May, this is his 4th game. He's lost a game, but his ERA is below 2. 8 strikeouts in 4 2/3 innings. Left-handers have nary a hit off the young man.
Well, Presley, terrific job. 2 1/3, 1 hit, no runs. So it'll be Abreu, Frazier, and Cabrera. Yeah, once you factor in, getting back to Nate Jones, once you factor in his motion and then you combine that with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, it looks a lot quicker than that coming up to home plate.
Especially when you're talking about a game that started at 3 o'clock, so you have a lot of shadows around home plate. Even with the lights on all the way around, the visibility isn't great. May last year was actually a starting pitcher 16 times. 32 times he came out of the bullpen. 8-9 record overall with a 4.0 ERA, and this year, at least to start, working out of the bullpen.
Off day tomorrow. And on Wednesday, Carlos Rodon against Phil Hughes. He of the strike throwing machine, Hughes. And there's ball 4. And right now let's check out our update, which we're going to be doing with regularity this season on our picks to click. There you see. Who leading right now as we speak. Jimmy Rollins. Yano having a tough day offensively and a good day defensively. Todd is 1 for 4 with a run scored. That Wednesday night game, that game will be over WPWR. Then Thursday afternoon, right back here on Comcast Sportsnet, Matt Latos against Irving Santana. Irvin, good pitcher. So May. Pitched well against us last year. Everybody did over there. They were 13-6 against us. He was 2-0 with a 2.87 ERA against us.
May originally a 4th-round draft pick of the Philadelphia Phillies. That was in 2008.
There's a shot in left field. Get down, get down. It will. Thank you very much. So Abreu now is being waved around by Joe McEwing. He will score on the double, and it's a 4-1 ball game. Todd Frazier, another RBI. That leadoff walk.
7 games played, 6 driven in by Frazier as he hooks this ball just by Rosario in left field. Then when Rosario has some problems corralling it, Joe McEwing, not hesitating, sends home the big man. That's not particularly well played, and this ball just stops right under the padding in left field. Big insurance run.
Joe McEwing, one of the best third base coaches in the league. Melky. He's 2 for 4. And one of the outs that was very good is he got Frazier, who had walked, going to second on a wild pitch, over to third. Four 9-0 for us. 1-6-1 for them.
You gave those numbers on the percentages of leadoff walks last year in the neighborhood of 37%. There's been 2 leadoff walks, one on each side. Both have scored today.
It seems like every one of them against us scores.
It certainly does.
Watch out, Milky.
Chases Milky out of there with some high heat.
Well, the first thing that'll take you down mentally as a club is bad defense. That's the first thing. The second thing is walks. That's into right center field. Buxton. They're tied on his way. He's there. So once again, Melky gets the job done.
Nice throw by Buxton in center field.
But he was going to his left.
He has to take about 4 steps, otherwise he throws him out. Good heads up base running. In there before the tag. And now it's going to bring the infield in at all 4 positions, which is a very enviable situation for Lowry. You had the same situation in the 2nd inning and drove a single right back up through the middle.
Yeah, he's 2 for 3 with a run scored and an RBI. That's a big pitch right there in the scheme of this at bat. Breaking ball, it misses 1-0. There was more or less just a get me over breaking ball to grab part of the inside corner. Good approach on that pitch. It's down and away. He was trying to take it into right center. But now May on top in the count, 1-2.
Fly ball or base hit here is going to send a whole lot of these very cold 40 some odd thousand fans home. Those that have stayed around to this point. It'll be a 4-run lead late.
Well, that's
Brett can drive them home.
Big double by Frazier. Chased a bad pitch. 2 down.
I think we're going to see a whole lot of that from Todd Frazier this year. He's going to be up with many men on base. And he can hit. He doesn't have to hit for average. He just has to drive him home. That's what he's paid to do, and that's what he will do.
Plus, he can throw that leather at third base. So here's Avi. He's 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Big rip. You're trying to make Avi understand that with his strength, with his power, you don't have to have a big rip to hit it out of the ballpark. Drops a hook on him.
That was a good one.
Best one he's thrown.
Yep. Anytime you can buckle the hitter's knees, you're in pretty good shape. Watch this one over the inside corner. It just barely buckled the knees of Avi, gave up on it, and it caught the corner.
Got him, but a big RBI double by Todd Frazier. We go to the bottom of the 9th, leading 4-1.
who comes on. He's already saved 2 games, and as you can see, he's given up very little of anything. 1 walk, no hits, 2 innings pitched, and he's 2 for 2. Got a 3-run save opportunity and a chance with the middle part of the order to chalk up save number 3, but he's not going to face Park. I believe he's going to face Nunez to lead it off.
So first of this 3-game series encompassing 4 days in Minneapolis. Finish it off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday down in St. Pete. That is before returning home. For that homestand, it'll be 4 with the Angels and 3 with Texas. So Nunez hitting for Park, who was 0 for 3.
Nunez off to a pretty good start, as you can see. Had a perfect day yesterday. 4 hits, and then he got hit. Took one off the forearm, but stayed in the ball game. So Nate Jones with a solid 2/3 out of the bullpen. It's been Albers, Duke, and Jones trying to save Jose Quintana's first win of the year.
And David, first reliever we've had to have 2 saves the first 2 games of the season, I believe, since Bobby Thigpen did it.
It's been a while.
Yep. One and 1 to count. Outfield straight up, spread out, just about equidistant. Breaking ball misses. Frazier in fairly close to third, just a couple of steps back of the bag. That evens the count. And a full count. No walks, David. Now, one thing the Twins are going to miss. He gone. 1 down is the presence of Torrey Hunter.
Take a look at strike 3. That fastball of David Robertson's looks like a cutter, and I agree with you. Torrey Hunter, just a terrific player. And he came to spring training, by the way, and tried to work with Sano a little bit in the outfield. You can't learn from anybody better than Torrey Hunter, and he's taking this year off to try to determine exactly what he wants to do as he moves forward. First year he's ever been retired, doesn't know what it feels like, and so after leaving the game for a year, you get a better perspective on just how much the game means.
Well, not many guys that played this game have finished more above 500 in their careers than Torrey Hunter. He was a winner, and to me, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, just the guy is just I couldn't stand him all those years he was helping beat us. But he's the kind of guy, if he plays against you, you hate him. If he plays with you, you love him. And that's the best compliment. Is tied with the pick, the peg, and the out, 2 down.
Nice play to his left. That ground ball stayed down, and a lot of times an infielder will have tendency to come up with the glove, but if you stay down, you can always come up. If you stay up, you can't usually go down. And Frazier shows you why he is thought of as one of the better third basemen around.
Well, you can't play the corners and be a stand-up third baseman or a stand-up first baseman. Can't do it. Game's too fast. Escobar takes a strike. Eduardo 2 for 3. Well, you can if you're going to hit 40 home runs and driving 120. but that's the only way.
You can play a lot of places if you can do that.
Yeah. That's popped up, and when this ball comes down, this game will be over. So David Robertson comes on, nails it down for Jose Quintana. Picks up his third save as the Sox now go to 5-2. Take the first of this 3-game set and the first of the 6-game road trip. They win it 4-1. And once again, Quintana was just terrific.
Yeah, he's been very good both times out. This time, 6 innings, 1 run on 4 hits, walked 3, fanned 5. Gave way to the bullpen. The bullpen that has been very good. It was good all of spring training. It's been good in the early going. Albers, Duke, Jones, and Robertson